the ideal union, to be free and allowed all freedom, while at the same time bound to the beloved, without bonds and vows and ceremony, to base the union entirely on trust, to be able to rely on that trust and keep the line of communication open always, no matter the distance or on what wayward journey. That would be something of the ideal union, but it would need some maintenance, especially the constant presence in thought of both parts in each other, manifested in regular communication, by letter, by mail, or by whatever. Even by telepathy would be better than nothing. But could such an ideal marriage of souls be made real? That is our challenge. Our place in the universe. You come to me in flashes, like in occasional bursts of limelight, proving you are constantly ahead of me, although I venture to keep the initiative, and thus our intercourse becomes a race. Who shows the way? Who leads the course? We both do for each other, and that's the miracle. As if we both were entering each other, and were each other's personalities. I saw in you from the beginning something of my own and other self. I understand your thoughts and feel them, and this must work both ways to work at all. You must likewise be familiar with my mind and understand it even in our separation. Thus we two are one and cannot part, and can't be separated even by reality, the petty physical preposterousness which is called the universe. Tears. Cry, my beloved, cry out, and let the world be cleansed in thy tears. Let the dirt wash out from the sewer cities, and let mankind be purged from her crimes. What is all mankind's wealth and riches to a woman's tears of compassion and pity? All might loses its right and gets lost in its vanity, when the world is washed out by the motherly tears, the greatest force on earth, since it is so natural, and gushes forth from the purest of purities, the flow of emotions from the heart of the soul. A man who cannot cry is a waste and doomed, worthless, since he cannot make his emotions work, the only human force equivalent to any force of nature. An intimate whisper, the beauty of the wind that blows our kisses across deserts, to spite all distances that separate us, manage to conserve the freshness of the tender wishes of our minds, and embalm those sacred kisses in safe envelopes of sovereign protection against any interference of profanity, to intercept the messages of our thoughts, to halt them on this way between ourselves, to settle after wayward journeys in our hearts, to there keep warm and safe for maintenance and custody in vivid preservation for eternity. Tired. Deadly tired, sorted out and all washed up, I stagger blindly through the alley, blindfolded by life like some forgotten addict, struck by sudden total, hopeless, cruel amnesia, with completely lost identity as a result, completely devastated like some ruined zombie. But whatever happened to me? It was just a seizure, just a normal fit. It happens normally to anyone. There is no person so complete and perfect that he doesn't quite occasionally have fits, and I'm just another one of them, a mortal nobody, who every now and then is good for nothing else than just to go to bed. How much may I love you? How much may I love you? Let me never come too close to avoid importuning and trespassing, but let me hold our feelings sacred so that they may never come to harm. Let me not enter except by your invitation, so that I may love you ever but with care. Give me the sacred office to maintain our fire, but with moderation, that it may not burn too violently, nor scorch, but at the same time never to abate, but just to keep us warm enough to draw but pleasure and enjoyment from it, so that it may ease construction in our sacred office of creation. A question of happiness. How is our union to be best described? An ideal friendship that could not be better, clinically free from all the lies of sex, a pure and sane relationship of constant growth, a fair exchange improving every day, a paragon example of good musical communion, a perfect philosophical platonic intercourse, an intimate concurrence quite impossible to sully, and what else? But are we happy? Yes, together, but when we are not together, I am only happy when I think of you. Is thinking then a proper substitute for company? It could be if it works well telepathically, which means we can always become happier. Freedom of love. Is it honest of me to withhold my feelings from you? I don't know, but I did it only from consideration. That is, at any cost I wanted to spare you, save you, protect you from getting hurt and not risk burdening you, because you were free and I wanted you to remain free. So please be free, my love, and let me love you freely, and you won't get hurt by that freedom, since it is the highest freedom of love that can't be valued, fettered, or brought down. I give you my freedom that you may save your own, and thus my love is the most free and pure and honest for my protecting you from it. Love's true manifestation. Love's true manifestation is no sexual act, no carnal wallowing in sleazy sauces, no material token, ceremony of vows, but faith alone, fidelity and continuity, all that which does not show and does not boast, but rather hides in intimacy and precaution, piously avoiding ostentation, keeping to itself, safeguarding faithfully all that which does not count, in worldly measures, concentrating on maintaining life, considering but that which is of vital matter to the soul, which is the only thing that lasts, thus being constantly on the defensive to protect the worthwhile preciousness of love against all mortal trivialities that drag it down from highest, holiest religion to profane perishability. The junkie. The self-humiliation of the lusts of alcohol resulted in a holiday at the resort for freaks, the local funny house where everyone is happy in disgrace, appearing nuts, completely without sanity, a dried-up drunk place where sobriety is just a fake, since everyone, as soon as he gets out of there, refreshed and loaded with some monetary aid of charity, immediately vanishes to drinking bouts again, where soon he will again be picked up like a parcel and collected by the office of assortment that indifferently and automatically will return him to his constant destination and his last definite home, the rehabilitation clinic, where he always finds his own, the comrades that he shares his life with, and who understand him, since they all have nothing left than for the rest of their degraded lives in common share their constantly increasing damage of the brain, which is the only thing they manage to accomplish by abandoning themselves to self-destruction through the blessings of the self-deceit of finally one day succeeding in the quest of drinking one's brains out to death. The possibilities of the impossible. Our impossible love affair is celebrating triumphs. There is nothing at all compatible in our relationship, no ground to stand on, no economy to build on, no mutual material interests, no family concerns, nothing but impracticability and thin air, and still our friendship has never had a flaw. We are as solid as a union as the universe, and even separated we remain together, hopelessly tied up in the ruins of our lives. This relationship has brought us into something like the world of surrealism, the chaos of impossibilities, a hippie world of no order and no structure, the complete mess of things that can't be organized. And yet we live, and we always stay and stick together, although we shouldn't, since everything speaks against it. So what is our case? To spite reality, mortality and superficiality, with perhaps an impossible world of love and beauty that cannot be defined. Well, nothing could be worse than the mess of our past, so let's just embrace whatever mess is coming of the future. Presentation. I was far too old even before I was born, and that is not the worst of it. Suicidal already as a child, 3 times I failed to drown myself, and those were only my life's first failures. My disappointment with mankind was total at 11, and how do you survive an intellectual rape, which is even worse than a sexual one? Which conclusion I could draw after the experience of both? I lost my family into an abyss of spiritual addiction, the brainwash, self-deceit, tomfoolery and whatnot of a capitalistic Buddhism made attractive by science fiction, a philosophy they called it, which ruined their possibilities. So I just had to work hard all my life and earn nothing for it, since I chose the wrong professions. The service of the muses, creation, knowledge, the love of beauty, idealism, so I had to work alone, protected against the ignorance and madness of mankind by isolation in a hermit's one-person monastery. And thus I carry on. Is that a happy life? And yet people envy me for nothing, while I just keep struggling on, a lover who is used to never getting anything for all his love. But as long as the band plays on, you can stand the music. Let's just face the music and keep it going. At least with music you can never get bored, so music of the right kind would be the only therapy possibility for the hopelessness of mankind. The truth is generally beyond recognition, but never quite. The truth is never what it seems to be, but much profounder, usually well hidden, maybe even buried deep. The truth is not for words or definition, since there is no justice in defining truth. How then are we to reach the truth? The truth is what we feel is true, since feelings never lie, and you are certain of their genuineness. The truth speaks to you from the heart, and if you but can listen to your heart, you certainly will know the truth. But even from your heart and from your feelings, this evasive truth is never quite complete. You need to constantly investigate it further, and you must be well aware that you will never be quite finished with it, since the truth is nothing but a lifetime work which never gets completed. Finally, a piece of comfort. When your heart is full of love and friendship, of that kind which is worthwhile and never shallow, you shall know that is the truth, while enmity and hatred, self-love and enforcement, arbitrariness, high-handedness and other blind manifestations that ignore the contact lines with others, turning feelings negative, are naught but passing lies and bad dreams never to take seriously, which you will see when you awaken to the feelings of your truth. Patience. When, my love, shall we at last come together? When at last may I encompass you with all my love? My longing has no end, but my comfort is that all our waiting must have an end, that one day we will meet completely and join not only hands together, but everything that can be joined. Just to live for that moment is joy enough for an eternity or longer, since that joyful moment is explosive like a chain reaction, continuing forever, spreading love and joy, not only within us, but all around us. So let us be patient with our waiting, and let our longing constantly increase, if possible, to multiply the power of our love forever. Wishfulness. When we cannot meet, at least I can remember you, in words to substitute my tenderest caresses, sending them to you like sweetest dreams and prayers, like wind horses to bring comfort, joy and happiness, although they are but momentary puffs of whims and wishes, if you will forgive my fancy and capriciousness. But in these miniature thoughts of my best wishes are, in spite of all, my truest love contained, in wished-for dreams of enduring embraces, and the sought-for union of our personalities, on wings of music, beauty, poetry, and loveliness, to bring us far above the mundane world forever, and to keep us there for our own benefit, which welfare we should spread around the world and impregnate all mankind with. Bad weather. On such a rainy day, any love can rain away. The tears you shed are not enough to wash the skies from dreary clouds, who cover us the more horrendously with pitiless deluges of misfortune, turning moods into a holocaust that frets away all clarity and robs us of our course that was so clear once, but now is all confused in shipwrecks, madness, alcoholism, and complete macabre chaos, leading us into a dance of lunacy that threatens to confound us. Lost. How shall we survive? I see no end to darkness. Even truth is clouded from our sight. My love is drowned in bottomless despair, and doubts that exile me in limbo, and I am entangled in the web of my own folly, paralyzed by Aphrodite, who is laughing at my awkwardness. I ask and pray for mercy. That is all what I can do. And worst of all is this, that you are in no better state yourself, since we are one, and your mind is the same as mine. The problem solver. All your problems are your own. That is, whatever happens to you, that is your own problem, which you have to carry out alone. You have no right to burden others with it. Only you can solve it perfectly alone. It is your own responsibility, and that is all. If you can get some help from others with it, still the problem is but yours, and you can never trust them with it. Solve your problems on your own, and you will be a free man, free to have your own integrity to share with others. The anti-addict's argument. Thy torment is my own. The tears you shed for him are my tears, and your life that he destroyed is my life. Like yourself, I cannot bear him, and yet must withstand him, with the wrecks he made of every person's life that he became a part of. Must we be dragged down into an addict's tragedy just because once someone fell in love with him, in blindness, without seeing that his life was but a waste, and devastating to whoever came into his life, of nothing but addictive self-destruction? Pardon me, but I will not have any share in it, and if you will, that must be without me. Any kind of love is transcendental. Transcendental love is too serene to be approached, too sacred to be touched, and too divine to be defined. And yet It is but love, like any kind of love, that cries for outlet and expression and demands response and feedback. Monologues are tragedies, while comedies are dialogues that carry forward and increases life, while the monologist can end up speaking but of death. So let us speak of life together and extol in life's abandonment and never give up dialogue, the mingling of our blood in pious transcendentalism, and just ignore it whether it be spiritual or real. In love, all languages of love are all the same, and transcendental metaphysics are no better and no worse than just the carnal touch. Insomnia. My love is like a sunrise that never sets again, but just keeps shining, like a soul that never sleeps, but just keeps beaming, like some constant dreaming, turning life to an explosion of not only energy, but of all kinds of creativity, and altogether a new life of wonder and of joy in almost a surrealistic way. If that is how love works, just let me love and never die, and never let me even sleep again. The mistaken musician. What's his skill worth if he only drowns it in booze? For me, those musicians are false, who abandon themselves to addiction and thereby destroy their own music, that gift of divinity that they were given to cultivate. That isn't music to me, which compels the musician to paths of destruction, which has been the destiny of most musicians that gave themselves only to jazz and to rock. For me, music is only music if it is enough pure and leads but to purity, and to a higher degree of spiritual clarity than just sobriety from common drunkenness. Music which tempts to abuse of narcotics and liquor is not really music but merely sound abuse, better than which any silence would be. For the most true and pure kind of music is that which can only come to you in silence. Fly away. Come with me, my love, and let us fly away on wings of music for a lovely day that will outlast eternity and outshine all dismay of doubts and tragedy and matters of foul play, that bring us down from heaven's lofty lay, the paradise of poetry, where all our freedom, pray, shall keep us and deliver us and stay, sustaining us forever and a day, so that at last one day we may perhaps turn over yet another leaf to have our say of glory, love and freedom, beauty and array, of truth to safeguard all to keep us gay, like in a never-ending glorious month of May, to sing the praise of Mother Nature, and for aye to keep to music, not to ever go astray. Intermezzo. Just another poem while I wait for you, a vain outsider who believes in what they say when people make appointments, and who faithfully is rather soon than late, and rather punctual than runs the risk of missing someone who might come, and waits for those who don't. And thus I have been waiting all my life, for ladies who have never come, for answers that were never made. But I don't care, for I can wait forever for my love if she's honest. That is all that counts. The only definite priority, the first and last and only true criterion of love, that you can trust her honesty, so that you can yourself be honest. For honesty is all that lasts. One word of honesty is more worth than a load of novels full of speculations, since the highest proof of honesty is that it, even if it's silent, speaks much more than words. The background lover. The less he is seen, the more he is loving. The less he is seen as a lover, the greater a lover he is, forced behind the curtain by experience, which has taught him never to be open with his love, since no one is more vulnerable than the lover, and nothing is easier to misunderstand than true love that manifests itself openly for those who are not included and not intended. Bad luck has taught him the hard way not to interfere with ghosts of the past, of former lovers of his loved ones, skeletons in the wardrobes like drunkards and addicts, whose pollution of love remain a stain and pain forever, for no wounds go deeper than aborted love. He is thereby content with the lover's part of a protector, a helper and creator of safety, a reliable friend, and that is perhaps the highest form of love, a constant faithfulness with no pretensions, with no reservations, and no end to its sustainment. The caretaker. Let me love you all, you poor lost souls, demented vagrants gone astray, you homeless, crying, doting victims of a fate that brought you down by violation, of which you were innocent, you poor beautiful forever errant knaves, raped virgins that are virgins still, since you were never willing to your rape, philosophers and hippies, new age children, addicts that were ignorant of your addiction, drunkards that were never really drunk, anonymous drug addicts, alcoholics, lovers that are saved by anonymity and therefore can remain forever on the booze and drunk as lovers, beautiful young victims of perpetual ecstasy. I shall take care of you and love you all forever, for I am the caretaker, the Orpheus forever singing for the living dead and for the dead that never die. Our love works on two different levels. Our love works on two different levels that constantly keeps playing tricks with us, which is why you are so confused, lost in the chaos of your subconscious, where all you have to cling to is your memories, the dreams you had that were so brutally shattered, but which were constructive initially, and their constructiveness remains in your surviving dreams that never died. Make me nourish them and make them live again, above all in your music, but make it twain, so that my music may accompany you along the path of life to the incessant glory of the continuous beauty of the finest love on earth, which also is the strangest and entirely our own. No fear. What are you afraid of, is your question. But I have no fears, but only worries and concerns, and I see the only threat ahead in any materialization of the essence of our union, which is purely spiritual. I want it to remain that way, so that it can be free to soar in wild dimensions in extraordinary heavens, and thus keep alive and inspirational and never lose the spirit. So I have no fear of flying, but alone of getting down to earth in any non-creative way that could result in fetters. So let me be free with you, so that I constantly can give you all my freedom, with unheard of dreams of beauty and perpetual construction, that we never may be tired of each other or of life. The trauma, karma story. There is more to it than just your alcoholic cavalier, his messing up of his own life and yours therewith, the bleeding wounds that can't be cured as a result, and the tremendous instability, both practical and mental, in which you find your wrecked life as a consequence. And in this fatefully amassing mess you meet with me, who only formerly has had as loved ladies talented artistic beauties with an alcoholic burden for a cavalier, whom none of them were ever able to let go. My first love had for her first love a wild drug addict, while the father of her child became a periodic alcoholic, making a complete mess of her life. My second found me to escape from widowhood, but told me nothing of two former lovers, both completely irresponsible and violent, who never let her go and with whom she made constant suicide attempts. My third had been forever marked by her beloved alcoholic husband, with a wound that had been cut around her breast, and soon with many stitches which had cut her soul in twain. In each of these three cases they would never free themselves of all those wounds inflicted by their husbands, which cut more deep into their souls than in their hearts, since they could never cease to care for them. I ask you, was it right? Did they deserve their fates, to suffer from their men atrociously for nothing? No, their failure to detach themselves from all those wounds became a self-inflicted punishment for nothing. Love must never be a punishment but a reward. If I can change your punishment to a reward, please let me. Old friends. Old friends are not just like old grass, which always grows under your feet to trample on, a nice reliable green which is there to remain and always to return after the winter's ice and snow. No, old friends are like necessary roots, the most important thing in life, and therefore we depend on our grass roots, which gives new life when we doff our shoes and stockings, walking with our naked feet directly on the ground in wholesome closest touch with Mother Nature, our life's origin, the dust which we invariably return to, which is constantly dressed up for us in lushness, all that friendship which remains to grow forever independently on how much we keep trampling on it. The glory of my love. My love is like the glory of a sunflower, continuing her beams after the sun is set, like as if never there was any sunset, while at the same time she outshines the moon in glory and in beauty, like as if the moon was always full and never went away to bring the morning. At the same time, she is like a garden full of flowers, that is always flowering and never withering, since she is beauty herself personated, gloriously invigorating the whole world with overwhelming perfumes of the moon's own charm. But most of all, my love is here, and she is here to stay, like music of the purest kind that never stops to sing, and that is the supremest glory of my love. Pity. Your tears are diamonds that cry for others, costlier as pearls than any jewels, since they are not shed for those who shed them, but for others like heartrending sacrifices, not so much for charity and pity as for empathy and pure compassion with despair. That gives them, priceless as they are, a luster rainbow-like in splendor, that enhances in immensity their value, since we talk here but of human values, human dignity, integrity, nobility, and admirableness, that rises from the ruins of destructive self-decay, the alcoholic's urge to get away from his predicament, as if to burn himself out could solve any problem. Madam Butterfly. My heart's own melody is full of melancholy, like a butterfly in winter lost in random alien land of futuristic surrealism that can't make anyone feel at home, and least of all a singing butterfly. But somehow my songs keep me up and going, since they only tell of my yearning for better worlds of more beauty, for closer love and warmer humanity, for everything that enhances life and makes it more endurable, for all those alien singing butterflies that came into this world like from another planet to use their brittle, fluttering wings to make even the worst possible world come around from dead-end troubles just to fly. Reflection. You are the peace of all my wars, the harmony that made disharmony disperse, the dream that woke me up from the intolerable madness of reality, the sanity which suddenly replaced my lunacy, the beauty that cleaned up my mind from dirt, the love acquitting my perversions, all the joy I never really had, some relaxation to ease up my stress, and finally, above all, someone I could care for, to make up for all my negligence of life, a beam of sunlight after lifetime darkness and imprisonment. In brief, would I not be a perfect fool if I ignore the possibility to love you? My offer, I love you. What does this fact imply? Unsurveyable consequences. First of all, practical problems of responsibility and action. But everything is possible, and I believe a love relationship in our case could be based on our mutual demand for freedom. For creative spirits, a stable agreement could be based on and built on thin air, since we both are wise enough to know that in this life there is nothing more stable than anything writ in water. Our mutual freedom is our major mutual urge, and that is what I have to offer you. The only thing I think that we could build some lasting love on. For me, it would be mainly work. For you, you know already that I always wished for you to further your own music in illimitable freedom and expansion. Somnambulistic telepathy, the enigma of dreams dreamt in common. The only truth about the matter, our only valid and important conversation, is a mumbling in our dreams the things we say while we are sleeping, like some strange kind of somnambulistic love, where lovers walking in their sleep share one and common dream, which is the only truth about their most remarkable reality. They dwell together in the truth of their ideals, which no one else can share unless they find themselves in that same dream, which only can be dreamt by honest lovers, whose transcendency of love is such a fact that in their dreams reality becomes a lost nonentity, since all that matters is that perfect honesty found only in that dream they share somnambulistically in their sleep at night, and they don't even have to sleep together. Philosophy. When words are not enough, there will be silence more expressive than 1,000 conversations and 1,000,000 symphonies, if that silence harbours feelings and vibrations disciplined by thought that tends in one direction of creativeness and love. Vibration of creative thought is maybe the most potent power in the universe, and if it is well disciplined at that, there are no bounds to what it may accomplish. Harmony and melody is one manifestation of that discipline which brings a breed of brooders who with their depth of thought are carrying on their shoulders the responsibility for universal life. Evening prayer. Let the most beautiful moments of our love transform into highlights of eternity, to light the sky of our lives in constant twilight, the most beautiful and colourful moment of truth and of light's sensitivity during the day. Let the stars beam the truth of these moments throughout all the nights of our lives, to endow them with beauteous dreams and of wonder that may outlast history. Thus is my evening prayer for you, that the blessings of these lights may never leave you, but constantly watch over you like guardian angels, ordained by me for your protection, that your sleep may be as wholesome as your gentlest dreams. in reserve. The uncontrollability of love, which makes everyone mad about her, is an interesting phenomenon, since no one can control it, least of all herself, the very hub, the heart of innocence, who casually observes the insanity around her and simply cannot do anything about it, having trouble enough to keep on the defensive, to ward off the clumsiness of the rude clouts, whose madness thereby is but added to. How can I help her, since I love her myself? All I can do is to at least control and behave myself, and keep my love in humble, faithful constancy, to spite the madding, crowding turbulence of love. The twilight of departure. The twilight of departure is a sad affair, since there is no return to what is fair. You leave behind what you are unwilling to leave, and move to unknown destinations of incertitude, perhaps of tribulation, certainly of trials, to never know what you one day will be returning to, after your trials, after an infinity of changes of the world and of your character, because you'll never be the same again after a journey. But this is the test of miracles. There might be something left for you that hasn't changed, and that stability is proof of continuity, that outlasts time and change and mundane troubles, and may prove that after all, in spite of all, your love will never change. New life. A new life begins for us more difficult, a life of separation and of trial, which could be a training of our spirits to be free and stalwartly remain free, in our minds, within each other's souls, in faithfulness galore without an end, but still there are some worries. I cannot protect you any more. We cannot see each other daily any more. We have to brace ourselves against an alien reality and trust completely to our dreams alone, but that is maybe our supremest strength, the knowledge of the power of our dreams, against which earthly powers with their strifes and wars amount to nothing, since all life acknowledges but one authority, which is the constancy of love. The travelling companion. Separation of twin souls is a lie, since geographical distance has no bearing on true relationships. You go with me, I feel you by my side. It is not strange, since we are lovers. We don't have to see each other, since it's easier to feel each other, which we do invariably, depending on our constancy. Thus don't I have to miss you, since I know you better in your absence, when my senses can't play jokes with me, when I can concentrate on what you are, your presence with me being so apparent, and the more in soul you are, the more I love you for your presence, even in your present absence. Old souls meet again. One might almost say you are the best thing that has happened to me. This is wondrous strange, considering your poverty, in view of that I never was myself a rich man, nor had anything to offer you except my poverty. But we are two old souls that must have known each other long before we knew each other or were even born, like as if our reunion in this life awakened us to find ourselves alive once more after a loss of life for many centuries. My Indian princess, or are you Arabian? Anyway, you certainly are not of this world, just as little as I am myself, but we have found each other and can thus create a new world. That's a challenge irresistible, and I would gladly try if you are with me. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me beyond the clouds to surreality, where everything is just amazing, not to say astonishing and constantly surprising. For it is a land of marvels without end, where nothing is predictable nor as you would expect, and therefore never can be boring. That's my land where I live and fly on wings of beauty and of universal love that never fails me, since I only deal with constancy. I give you willingly my hand to come along as my companion and accompaniment into my everlasting world of beauty and of music that will never cease to soothe you, worship you, and love you. Now, it's only now that counts, this fearful moment of so ominously constant truth, in which we make our present and the future, and create our history and take care of the past. And nothing stands outside this momentous, intriguing hour, in which universal destinies are solemnly determined, and lives and fates stand not a chance of being saved, if they cannot live up to the importance of the present. Here you have me in your favour for the present, loving you, and honestly I pray to God that it may last forever. That, however, is not in our power for the present to decide, but let's at least be happy for the present hour, and perhaps succeed in keeping up our happiness, so that it might spite history to outlive time. The call, the muse to her darling. Come into my world, my loved, feel yourself at home among these beauteous people who live only for idealism and golden dreams of beauty. We live for a better world than this one, which exists, a surreality which must eventually replace the low one, that of barbaric materialism and egoism, but we must not enforce ourselves, but keep to patience. Meanwhile, let us cultivate our garden and our music, all that is constructive and beautiful that favours life. So shall we love each other to give birth to that desired future of our dreams, a world of artistry and grace, of freedom of creation and expression, of magnificence, imagination and intelligence, a contrary world order to this mess of politics, this madness of control, manipulation and deceit, this havoc of ambition, egoism and greed. I offer you the contrary, which is the easiest thing, a world of harmony and discipline and common sense, ruled only by the liberal divinity of love. Trust. How much can I trust you? I trust you with my life, for you to keep and harbour in your heart forever if you like, for my life is my love, and if I cannot share it with my love, it is a waste for nothing, worth no more than nothing. So it is better that you keep it safe from me, so I don't waste it on what is not love, that is, that it is better for my love to keep it in safe custody for her own love, than it is given up on anything that is not love. My love is like 1,000 stars. My love is like 1,000 stars, each beaming and conveying different aspects of our love, each holding its own character and colour, varying like the wave lights of the sea, and flickering like the sun rays in it, each containing a profound and mesmerizing mystery of unknown depths unfathomable, and of stories whispered forth in unintelligible dreams that never can be told, explained, but only listened to. And every star of different aspects of our love has its own solar system of immeasurable compass, of more planets with more life than can be counted, each inviting to new worlds of vast discovery, and thus to our love there cannot be an end. Missing you. Missing you is like confessing to a crime. I must plead guilty without any reservation. There is nothing I can do about it, since I cannot get you here except by wishful thinking, making up your image in my dreams, wherein I still can love you passionately without any reservations, and you are not even hurt or importuned thereby. That is another freedom, but of no avail, just as to cry is nothing much to boast of. But the truth about the matter is that since I miss you earnestly, I also must needs love you earnestly. Love and friendship. The freedom of our love is maybe its responsibility and finest trait and fruit, since it is based on trust. That maybe summarizes the whole thing. Longevity of love is friendship, and where friendship lasts, love certainly will grow. The deepest love is not just passion but affection, and where this is stabilized, established, and well-founded, love becomes synonymous with friendship and self-evident. Those who really love each other need not talk about it. They just stick together like old friends in consistent and continuous communion that cannot easily be interrupted, even by the longest momentary separations. For when two souls find each other and united into one, that union cannot be more perfect, in transcendence of all vows and bonds and worldliness. Poor comfort. A poem is poor comfort for the absence of your love, but still it gives a hint of the beloved's soul and presence, and, what's even better, it remains and is no lie, but deep and heartfelt honesty. The poorest substitute for love is flesh without a spirit, carnal satisfaction without faith, while love is so much more than that and may be truest in immortal lines. I claim no such immortality, but am content with simple honesty. Black holes. In darkness shines the light of love, a truism but of some severe significance, because the light is threatened by this darkness constantly, and darkness is, as Plato found, much greater than the vulnerable light. The darkness is unfathomable in its depth, and this unendingness of dark holes in the universe is ever like a terror, since it cannot be defined. It just exists as an eternal threat against the twinkling smallness of the light, which never can, however, be put down. That is the magic of the miracle, that this eternal, overwhelming darkness always is defeated by the tiny light. In servitude, we are custodians of the muses, bound by them in lifelong thraldom to create and propagate their beauty, fettered by their inspiration to produce and serve humanity with joy, while we remain unthanked in poverty. Thus is our destiny of unfair destination to toil alone against the mainstream, pioneering to create a better, finer world against the ignorance of that majority that never knew the muses really do exist, while we are left without a choice, but stubbornly to struggle on, our only real reward just being our association with and knowledge of the muses. Protest. I love you telepathically, more than anything on earth. In view of violent storms over the mountains, sweeping villages away and breaking up communications, ruining the lives and homes of farmers, I cannot endure this monumental foul play, separating us and ruining the world. My passion is destructive against this injustice, crying out in horrible despair, protesting all my love against all the dark forces of the universe. My only comfort is this solace of a fact that our love will manage this and stalwartly survive, to spite all the destructive powers of the universe. Love by candlelight. May I call you my love, my lovely? What a shameful and presumptuous question. I call you names without asking, and ask your permission afterwards, when the importuning already has been made. What a shameful and unabashed conduct! It just fell on my mind in this candlelight, in a purely romantic and natural mood, to call you that name which forever is yours in my mind, and which sometimes demands some expression. So forgive me my bold importuning, but let me just whisper that name in your ear again, with full guarantee that you only may hear it, of names most misused, but also most honest, my love. In the hopelessness of natural catastrophe. In the hopelessness of natural catastrophe, my only comfort is to think of you, with tears of sorrow for all those who lost their homes, but all the more for missing you. My life is split by hard responsibilities for work, for people, and for you, while my most practical sport, my greatest pride and pleasure, is completely to ignore myself, to concentrate on what is more important, that is, my responsibility and love. So I beg you to forgive me if I sometimes must neglect you for responsibilities, but be aware that they are only there for the expansion of my constant love. A confession. What is a lover without stains? My greatest fault, if you'll forgive some straight confession, is my incredulity and doubtfulness. I never could believe in love nor trust a lady, letting my love be corrupted by mistrust and jealousy for nothing. It was maybe that old green-eyed monster, which appears whenever love appears as its backside and contrary, but fortunately I could always well control it, piously preferring self-inflicted torture to myself than hurting others. But the worst was always the incurable and persecuting doubts, which usually, unfortunately, proved too true. Thus every love affair I had was shipwrecked on the shoals of doubtfulness and hard reality, my love surviving only in my lonely, ruined heart, in constant fickle hope of better luck next time.